People needed cults to unite against segregation and racism. But post Jonestown Massacre, people lost humanity. They lost uniting. They lost being against something altogether by being untrustworthy to any cause that could help and change the status of the life. Instead, now humanitarianism is based on, am I going to be seen for this? Is there celebrity status, and will I get money for this? So as such, most accommodating nonprofit organizations make profit for the people working them. They're nonprofit, but not really nonprofit. It's a saddening thing looking at it from not necessarily a white man's perspective, but just a perspective of people not trusting part of themselves with their instincts, actually. Because in reality, it's not necessarily uniting against racism and segregation. It's actually uniting with your instincts. Most people who do any protests now have a fundamental cause as a celebrity for it. Not necessarily as a means to produce a result for the whole of humanity. Instead, they worry about how they're going to be seen. That isn't the result of post-Jonestown Massacre. Jonestown Massacre only showed that people will listen to anything. Okay, well, that hasn't changed then. In all reality, listening to anything isn't good, but listening to everything isn't good either. Because that's what we've come down to as a civilization. Well, that was a small group. If I listen to what the media is saying, or if I at least create my own faculty of mind around this society, it'll all be okay. Well, people united in cults because they felt like racism and segregation could end. And it wasn't a cult at that point. It was more like, we want to unite and be together. And someone took advantage of that, obviously a white man, and made it possible for all people to have that cause together. The thing is, though, that cause doesn't mean it's now unimportant. Well, if that's what could happen with the cause, then I'd rather keep segregation and racism around, because at least it won't go like that. And I think that's what it's come down to, really. It can't get any worse. This was something my ex said, actually, a long time ago. It can't get any worse than this, and literally was abused, raped in the past, kept people around that abused my ex. So by keeping people around that abuse you, you're saying that, well, it's better than having this person like Jones take over and make us kill ourselves and kill us for not going through this indoctrination process. Well, the problem with that is it comes with a complete trust of someone. And yes, you're not trusting someone that is embracing an idea of change that you embrace, let's say, but you're embracing someone who's offering you horribleness and abuse. And it can't get any worse. Yes, it can. You can die. I can die if I stay around that shit. And I was dying myself in my lifetime. But no one's going to call that abuse in the way that most people would describe it, because self-inflicted. You should have walked away from that on your own. I did now. Why is everyone upset that I did? I thought, that's exactly what you're saying to do. It can't get any worse. Well, that's what happened. That's what happens when you're not willing to risk something now at this point. Not to work together and get some person to get you all together. It's to identify that there is a problem. That problem doesn't just go away because people massacred themselves and killed, and the person in charge killed everybody because they united. It wasn't their fault they united. They wanted to. That was not something that is wrapped in the silicone of what the main person did. It's still a cause that matters. And I think that's what being anti-cult is about, is to not listen to someone to that bastardizing point, to make them a leader in that way. There has to be a cultivation of spirit from everybody to work together. So it's not a cult. It's not a, group mentality. It's a literal whole force of individuals with all their powers working together. Not all their powers linking to one person's power. That's all.